339-1140. We hit the 11 o'clock hour. And Kyle, yes, sorry about that. We're doing the eye thing these last couple days. I know the baby's coming. You don't know if I'm on the way out. Every time I send you a text, you think I'm not going to be there. So Kyle and I, we're just working through this limbo here. But Bobby Jackson, that is the little clip that Kyle started to play. Bobby Jackson was around the Rico Hines run, a very famous run in L.A., and a bunch of the young Kings players were down there. DeMar was there. He was just kind of chilling. And Bobby Jackson got all the young players, said, hey, bring all the young players around. And he almost uses the Kings players as an example. This is about 2 minutes long, but I thought it was really good stuff. And Bobby Jackson's breaking down some of the same things we've heard before about everyone's not going to be a dude, so you need to find your path. Here it is.
For our young guys, all the young guys. Like our guys came in here yesterday, they went 0-5. They got that. Right, then they came back today, right? What was your record today? 5-0. Right? So you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, right? Can't keep your head down. That's how the league works. As a young guy, find your way. All right, I've been in this league 28 years as a coach and as a player. Right? Find your way. Find what your role is. Right? Everybody can't be the superstar. Everybody can't shoot all the balls. Find that one role that's going to allow you to play 12 years in the league. I'm 5'11". Played 12 years in the league. I figured out what my role was. All right, everybody wants to come in the league and they want to be the guy that's going to shoot all the balls, get all the minutes, but it doesn't work that way. All right, young guys with the Kings, you guys came in here, they got that pick yesterday, and they made their minds up there. They wasn't losing today. And we gave them, right? That's how the league works, right? So just my little message to you guys, right? Stay humble, work your off, like be in shape, right? At 20 to 25, 28, like you shouldn't be out of shape. Get in the gym, work on your game, condition, because the league is getting faster and it's getting younger. So if you can provide an asset in a role that benefits that team, right? Relish in it. These teams are looking for young guys that's hungry. They're going to bust that, have a routine, and they're going to play hard. If you don't play hard, trust me, at a young age, you can't play in this league. Because you already got the superstars. So figure out your role is, relish in it, and build a routine to be successful so you can stay consistent in this league for a long time.
That was Bobby Jackson, assistant coach of the Sacramento Kings, and I thought that was great stuff. We keep hearing the same things. Now look at the Kings roster, right? And the young guys that have been out there. I think we saw Keon was out there, Nique was out there, Maxime was out there. If you're going to be a dude, you'll evolve into that. And that's kind of been the issue, not to bring up his name again, but with Kuminga. He did not want to evolve into that. He wanted to just be that. He didn't want to be Charmander and Chameleon, or Charmeleon. He just wanted to be Charizard. And that's not really how it works. Now, he didn't really get opportunities, but that's not really how it works. And I look at this Kings team and the young players, and I do think the future is bright. The problem is I'm just not sure how much runway they're going to get in order for it to be bright. In a weird way, I almost feel like I don't know that the Kings young players as a unit will ever be true contenders, right? Because I just think that you're missing your dude. I do, however, think that honestly, individually, they all seem to fit a role. I would say Isaac Jones is the one that's kind of the question mark. He's got to find his way a little bit, but they all, or, just shoot the three ball better, but they all kind of fit different roles. You can see who they are and different versions of them. The issue is you just don't have your dude, which is why, and I know I'm not kidding here, if you do what you're supposed to do, and in 2026, you get a top 4, top 5 pick, I believe that you have some pieces that could help. If you get AJ DeBansa, if you do get one of these top guys, okay, cool. We're going to make a decision to move forward. We're going to hold on to Keon Ellis. We're going to hold on. And Keegan, I think, still has some of that in him. I still think Keegan, you can be above average versions. I say the same thing all the time with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is he is one of the rare situations. I don't know if rare is the right word, where he was high level, a Hall of Famer, but he had his role. Klay wasn't just going to take the ball and not give it back. He not really a heliocentric scorer, but he could shoot the you-know-what out of the basketball. So you can be a high level player within your role. So I look at Maxime and I look at Nique Clifford and I look at Keon and I salivate to what that team could be if they're able to get one of those dudes. I don't think that dude is RJ Barrett. But if you want to give it a go with RJ Barrett, cool, right? And that's why I know I keep flopping with Trae Young, but that's why, you know what? I'm not trying to do that. Let Domantas Sabonis, he can hang if he wants, but find a way to move on. And maybe this is part of Scott Perry's plan, why he hasn't done anything. I don't want to move on from Keon. We plan on re-signing him. We plan on signing Keegan. We just got to get through these 2 years. And after we get through these 2 years, we believe we have a good young core. It's not a championship core, no. But it is a core filled with players that are starting to understand the roles that they need to have in this league. Nique Clifford understands that. Okay? Maxime Reynaud, he's one of those guys. I think he's got some of that star potential, but could he be a diet Lauri Markkanen, right? We know what that could look like. It doesn't mean he's going to get there, but they all have them. Whitey always jokes me because on Perfect Game, it said he tracks balls, and he reminds us of Kenny Lofton. Now, clearly, I was never close or half or maybe even a quarter as good as Kenny Lofton, but I had a coach once tell me, played for the Expos for years and years, you need to remind scouts of someone. Remind them. He would even go as far as to say to wear, now don't go Dylan Raiola. Maybe my coach told Dylan Raiola the same thing. Not all that, but he would go as far as to say is dress like them, wear their uniform like them, give the scouts a reason. Hey, you know what? This guy kind of reminds me. Play into it, right? I'm not going that far, and we're having some fun with it. But as far as, hey, Keon, you see Caruso? That's you.
I'm going to need you to shave your head and wear a headband.
That you are Caruso with hair.
You are wearing a headband.
Hey, Nique, enter whatever name you want to use. You see that? You see that player? That's where you're trying to go. Now you can be a better version of that, but this is how these guys are getting paid.
Maxime, I'm going to need you to start getting some oxtails.
Oxtails, ribs.
Yeah, I like him.
Cornbread.
What a Lauri Markkanen combo situation, right? Stretch the floor. We need you better defensively. That's where you're headed. All these guys, we know where they're headed. Zach LaVine, I don't know where he's headed. He's kind of already there. DeMar DeRozan, he been there. Domantas Sabonis kind of feels like he's already there. Malik Monk, he's probably already there. Devin Carter, screw it. Go be Derek White. Go do it.
I'm going to need you to shave your head.
Yeah, everybody else is. Bronny's Derek White. Everybody's Derek White now. So I listened to this from Bobby Jackson, and it does make me a bit optimistic. Unfortunately, it's not about the immediate future, but to reference the Giants, I have segmented my happiness into essentially pretending like what the Giants are doing right now is the playoffs, right? Every game is essentially a must win. So I've compartmentalized that to enjoy these games as must-win games, because I don't know if the Giants are going to go to the playoffs or not, because it's out of their control. I think how I'm starting to approach this season is compartmentalize the actual season from some of the things that we could see throughout this year. Oh yeah, well, the Kings, they're scheduled to win 35 games, and it's easy. Oh yeah. Well, Nique Clifford looks really good, and I know that's the thing to say, but Nique Clifford is a dude. Maybe we can walk away saying that. I'm watching Nique Clifford every night, watching how he unfolds. I'm watching Keon Ellis every night, how he unfolds. I want to see Maxime. He might have to spend some time in the G League. Maybe y'all will see me out in Stockton. I got asked to do the Stockton baby race. Maybe we got to start from the bottom. Maybe baby number 2 has to start from the bottom.
Here you go. You got another chance, Allen.
Okay? Maybe we got to do that. So I understand that this is the most microwave of societies that we've been in, but at the very least, Scott Perry, even prior to Scott Perry, they brought in some guys that you can see their path. Will they get there? Is Keon going to be Alex Caruso? I don't know. Probably not. But you see the path, even if he's 80% of that from an undrafted G League two-way guy to this, you can feel good about that. Now in a couple years, if you got to flip them, you do what you got to do. But you can compartmentalize and see that some of these young guys are giving us reasons to at least be somewhat hopeful. I don't know if that's this was a kind of a sad sentiment, right? A sad rant, an optimistic rant. In the short term, maybe it is a bit sad, but it could be worse. It could be worse, man. I'm just really excited to that started the whole thing with Devin Carter, right? And I've said this before. If he had come out and just balled out in Summer League, if he was healthy, the Devin Carter, and even for a deal with Kuminga, it sounds crazy if you think that's fine. But the whole narrative, that Cam Whitmore narrative, what he did in Summer League, that lasted a good bit. Then he just didn't play, right? Because the Rockets ended up being a 2 seed.
Same thing with Cam Thomas.
Exactly. But if he were able to roll into that, we would have looked at it differently. Second year is just not the same. You have expectations. You're not the fresh meat anymore. But seeing Nique Clifford, seeing Maxime Reynaud, right? And Keon has graduated out of it. And Isaac Jones, I know technically it's his second year, but undrafted. I do think we look at Isaac Jones a little bit differently than Devin Carter because Devin was a first-round pick. They're going somewhere. I don't know when, and I don't know where, but they have good young talent. And I do think it goes beyond our classic writer or reporter who comes on this show and says, well, I like Nique Clifford. I think it's deeper than Nique Clifford. I really do.
So I think it's interesting because they have young players, but they don't have young players in the same way that like the Pistons do, where it's like day one, they are coming in and they are rotation players. But we talked about this with the backup power forward position that we just need 1 or 2 of them to become rotation level players. Yeah. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
It's very okay. This is a hilarious breaking news. I didn't know if you wanted to break the segment for it. So now
I got a couple texts and I wanted to confirm.
When it breaks, we have it first.
Yeah. I don't know.